Let's see. Hi, everybody. It's Leslie Denny from Yoga Oceanside, and this is chair class. And I'm so glad that you could join us today. Just being able to be together is all that matters. So let me show you what I've got set up over here, just in case you're a first-time viewer. This is the first time that you popped in and you haven't had a chance to attend one of our great chair classes at the studio. I've got myself a yoga mat here, and the reason that I like that is because it actually keeps the chair from sliding around, which is really important. And when you're getting up, it gives you that extra grippiness so that you feel pretty stable. The chair that I have, this one is one of my dining room chairs, so it has a pretty high back. You don't have to have one that has that high of a back, but you definitely want a chair that has a high enough back so that you're supported when you sit back, and it really protects your low spine as well. It can be open in the lower portion because a lot of times when the upper back supports the back, then you're good to go. So try out a few different chairs to make sure that it's one that really works for you. The other things that I have with me today, to give you just a minute to be able to zip around the house or wherever you are to be able to gather these things, is I'm using a strap today. And I like to tell people that if you don't have a yoga strap, you don't necessarily have to go out and buy one. You can use a belt or a tie or just a strip of material or even a towel, just elongated and wrapped around to be able to utilize for some of our stretches that we're going to be doing today. And then the other thing that I have is I typically use a block, and I'm going to show you how I use these. I use a block to rest my feet on because that relaxes my hip flexors when I'm in a seated posture. And for some people whose chairs go a little too high, their legs are just dangling. So they want to be able to rest their feet on a stable surface. And I'm not using my block today. What I am using is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows because it's really thick. It's as thick as a block. So this is what I'm going to be using. You might have a book of choice that you'd like to rest your feet on. So just feel free to go ahead, and I'll give you just a second while we're settling in here. I'm not playing any music, and the reason I'm not playing any music is I actually want you to play the music that you want to listen to wherever you are. We all like different types of music. So whatever resonates with you, go ahead and pop that on now. And you'll see that as I settle into my seat, as I rest my feet on my book or my block, that all of a sudden that does relax through the hip flexors here. Now, when we begin, you want to make sure that you're seated pretty far back into the chair so that your back is supported. And you're going to know that when you start to feel that little low back kind of achiness, go ahead and keep sliding back to the chair and try to relax as much as possible. In our chair class, we'll be doing a lot of different things throughout our session today. We'll also include a final relaxation at the end for you to be able to kind of dial it down before you head off for the rest of your day. And throughout the practice today, I want you to think about this. If there is anything that feels uncomfortable to you at all, don't worry about doing it. That is so important. Everybody's yoga practice is a little different because we all have different abilities, different ranges of motion. And so just because you can't get into a deep stretch, or maybe your balance posture you're not holding for long, or certain poses you just don't even want to do because they don't feel good to you, that does not mean that your practice is any less than anybody else's, because it's just as strong. So what I brought for you today, because I always like to offer up a quote of the day, comes from Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. And I'm sure that a lot of us have read this. It's a pretty powerful book, an objective observation of individuals that were in the concentration camp situation during World War II. And Viktor Frankl won a lot of awards. He was a neuropsychologist. And one little thing that I wanted to share with you was in 1931, that's my cat Merlin, so just ignore him. But in 1931, Viktor Frankl, along with another psychologist, set up shop at a local high school. And there happened to be a pretty high suicide rate at this particular high school. And what they did was they actually decided to offer free psychological counseling to any of the students that wanted it. And they heightened the availability of it when report cards were handed out. Because of the accessibility to that help and support and the acknowledgement of what they had achieved during that report card season, in that particular case study in 1931, there was not one suicide during that time that they were there. So his perspective was being able to ensure that people find a sense of purpose in their lives. That was really a cornerstone of Man's Search for Meaning, the book. The quote that I have to share with you today, and let me read this to you, is when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. And I think that speaks volumes about our life and how our life can transition through the years. And maybe we're in situations that are less than comfortable for ourselves, and we can't change them. But we have this innate ability within ourselves to be able to change our attitude, because attitude is everything. You can take a bad situation, and if you have a great attitude about it, then all of a sudden it's not so bad, or it goes by much faster. And that's what's lovely about it. And within the book, Man's Search for Meaning, he found that people are driven by striving to find meaning in their lives, and that in this sense, having meaning enables them to overcome painful experiences. And when I thought about that, I thought about kind of our thinking around purpose in yoga, purpose in life, and we call that Dharma. And so I started reading a lot of different blogs yesterday in preparation for our time together here today. And what I found was one of the steps to finding that purpose in your life, or what we like to call Dharma, is actually a path of joy, finding a path of joy. And I thought, I can really hitch my sails on that, because when I come to the mat in yoga, and it doesn't matter whether it's chair yoga or a strong vinyasa class or a gentle restorative class, I'm looking for joy, and I find it. By the time usually I take my first few breaths, it opens the doorway to that. And by the time I finish my practice, when I'm in that final resting place of relaxation or shavasana, I'm pretty much found my joy. So that's what I want for you here today. I hope you find some joy. And the way you'll do it is by making sure that you stay true to the practice that you need. So let's begin our practice today by coming to a comfortable seated posture, and make sure that you have all the support in the world that you need right now. And I mean in your environment, wherever you're practicing from. I've got my cat wandering in and out. We were talking about locking him up, but we're not going to do that because he's a free spirit and he likes to be around us and he gives us joy. And then if you're comfortable placing the feet on your block or your big book, then feel free to do that so that you can relax tension through the legs. And then just rest the hands, palms up or palms down, in whatever feels best to you. And just take these few moments to close your eyes and become very connected with how you're breathing in these first stages. We're going to work through some three-part breathing to begin. And as you begin to dial in and focus on your breathing, sometimes that's the first step onto the path of joy. Just noticing your breath can help diminish all of the distractions in your life that might be entering into your mind path, heart path right now. So just take those few first deep breaths, and they don't need to be a struggling breath. just a comfortable breath and maybe a little bit more conscious breath. Let's breathe together for these first few breaths. Then on that next inhale, try to focus your breath high into the upper part of your chest. Just feel your chest rise on the inhale and then relax back in on the exhale. Do that a few more times. Then with the next breath, just place your hands towards your rib cage for just a moment for the first breath, and then feel free to relax the hands back to your lap. And on the inhale, feel as though you're expanding that rib cage outward, and on the exhale, feel it draw back in. It takes a little bit of practice if you're not used to this. And then keep breathing a few more breaths, just like that. Allow that rib cage to expand, to create a little more space for your lungs. And then on the exhale, feel that draw back in that release. And then with the next chamber or part of your breath, draw the hands to your belly. And on the inhale, just kind of gently push your belly out. And on the exhale, pull it back in. And one more deep inhale. And exhale to pull it back in. So within that 3-part breathing, we're just really helping the diaphragm, this muscle right here, to move to create more space for the breath. So we're really not breathing into our bellies, but as we're pushing that belly out, it's helping that diaphragm flatten back out so that you can expand the lungs more on the inhale. And then when you pull it back in, it helps arch that diaphragm up to push the air back out so that you're exhaling through more of the lungs. So let's try to utilize all 3 chambers. And if you don't feel comfortable with that, just breathe comfortably, because that's all that matters. Take a deep inhale through your nose if it's good. And then slowly exhale the air back out. And do that a few more times. And then one more deep inhale. And exhaling it back out. So as you move into your practice, breathe a little more than passive breath. That soft, diminishing breath that we don't even notice during the day. Try to make it a little bit more active than that. But if you feel like you're breathing at a point where it feels like it's a struggle to keep that breath pattern, then just soften it a little bit, because that's okay. And then as you breathe from here, what we're going to do is keep the hands towards our knees to start. And take a deep inhale, seated upright. And as you exhale, just bring one shoulder towards the opposite knee. And then inhaling, lift up. And exhale, draw that opposite shoulder in. And then keep flowing from side to side. This is really a nice little flow to kind of activate a little gentle stretch through the back muscles. And it also helps activate that breath by inhaling, opening up the chest, and exhaling, kind of rolling it forward to the side to create that little bit of compression to exhale the rest of that air out. And then we'll do that one more time to this side. Inhaling to lift up and exhaling to relax the arms alongside of you. Start to roll the shoulders up and around. We're going to be reaching the arms up as we start to move into our sun salutations. And when we move into those sun salutations, if you feel any tension throughout your shoulders, just keep the hands a little closer in for support so that you don't overstretch. Then in this space, we're going to set what we call our intention. And it's usually a short sentence that starts with the words, I am, with a descriptive word of where you would like to be. And today, my intention is I am joy. That's what I'm trying to focus on today, is to open up that doorway for lots of joy in my life. Then draw the hands to heart center. And with the next inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, release into your forward fold. Inhale to flatten back. And exhaling, forward fold. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. And exhaling, draw the hands to heart. We're going to do quite a few more of these. Inhaling, reach up. And exhale into forward fold. Inhaling to flat back. And exhaling, forward fold. Inhale, reach out and up. Exhaling, hands to heart center. Keep working through your sun salutation. And always remember that if you need to dial back from something, it's okay. Inhale to flat back. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhale, reach up. And exhaling, hands to heart. Let's do two more of those. You'll notice that maybe you have a friend in the room that's watching with you right now. And if you do, just kind of remember that you might be moving at a different rate of pace than they are because you're following your breath pattern. And if you are, just define that as what is unique about you. It's not a judgment that you have to move at certain rates of pace as others. Just move at the rate of pace that feels good to you. Then with the next inhale, reach the arms up and exhaling, draw the hands to heart. Try to bring your elbows into touch and your hands to touch. So that might mean that you need to drop the elbows down a little bit. And on the inhale, open the arms up and exhale, close back in. So this is a little modification of what we might call our cat-cow flow to start with, and then we'll work into another variation. What I love about this particular flow is it actually works my shoulders a little bit. So you might start to feel a little bit of tension in the shoulders. And we need to do little things that we can so that we are strong. Your shoulders have to do a lot in your life, and you want to make sure that the muscles are strong. But if you're starting to get to a point of fatigue where it's not comfortable for you, then just drop the elbows down a little bit to lessen that tension. And then just one more inhale, exhale. Then drop the hands to the lap. On the inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, round the back out and chin to chest. So this is another variation of what we would call our cat-cow flow or Chakravakasana in Sanskrit. And just keep flowing through that a few more times. So I'm so glad that you could join me in my little home studio for Yoga Oceanside today. It's nice to invite folks in to celebrate practice with me, and I'm glad that you're a part of it today. And then just one more flow here, and exhaling, round that back out. Relax the hands to the knees and drop the chin to your chest. And then slowly begin to sit up through the spine, but you'll notice I still have my chin to the chest. I'm going to roll my head over to one side and then roll it down and to the other. Now notice that I'm not rolling my head all the way back. When you roll the head all the way back and around, that can create a what we call contraindication for the cervical vertebra, the vertebra that are on the back of your neck. You already have what we call a C curve on the back of your neck. So there is already a little bit of vulnerability in that space. So when we roll the head all the way back, that can actually cause more discomfort, and we don't want that. So just rolling the head from side to side is giving that neck all that it needs. And then draw the chin to the chest, and then lifting the head, we're going to shrug the shoulders up and then down. And from here, what I want you to think about is creating some tension up here and then relaxing it down. So you might want to inhale and really bind it up, and then exhale, relax it down. And when you do that, feel like you're just got a brick on your shoulders and somebody just removed it and it just collapses down. So inhale, lift, and exhale down, and one more time. Good. Then take a deep inhale, and this time I want you to blow that air out through the mouth. And do that one more time. Good. With the next inhale, reach the arms up, interlace your fingers, and push the palms to the sky. Now, again, this is one of those where if you've got some tension in the carpal areas here at the back and your wrist joint, you may not want to stretch it all the way out. So just go to the point of what we call gentle resistance. When you start to feel your body stretching, that's as far as you need to go. And then draw those arms out in front of you and almost feel like you could breathe in your upper back. Take a deep inhale and feel that expansion. And then on the exhale, feel the release. And take one more deep inhale and exhale. Then draw the arms behind you. Grab the back of your chair. Just hold on to it and pull the shoulders down and back. You don't want to tilt the chin up slightly, but notice I'm not collapsing the head all the way back. Remember what we talked about about the back of the neck vertebra. You just want to tilt the chin up, and you're going to go into like a little bulldog mouth. So I want you to push the chin out, and you're going to get a big stretch through the throat. You might also say that this is a Godfather look. So if that's Godfather or Bulldog, whatever works for you, just get your imagination to fire up and go wild. And take one more deep inhale and exhale, release it. Then again, draw the chin to the chest, relax the arms, and roll the head from one side to the other. And once again, from one side and to the other. Now we're going to go into a little bit of a shoulder stretch. So you're going to bring one arm across your chest. As you roll it in, you're going to feel that stretch start to move up into here. This is a portion of your body where we call that the deltoid muscle. And what it will also do is link into the upper back stretch. So you might very well feel this pretty down deep into your spine, but it should, again, I'm going to say this a million times, it should feel good, not forceful. So take 3 deep breaths here. Your breath may be longer or slower than mine. I'm going to take one more deep inhale, join me, and then exhale the air out, and then relax that arm to the side and just let it dangle. This is a really nice way to just relax through the shoulder assembly. And you'll notice that I'm just letting that arm hang. It's just doing a free swing. Good. And then release from there, and let's work it to the other side. Bring that arm across the chest, feeling that stretch right into the shoulder. Nice, even stretch, nothing forceful. Taking a couple of deep breaths here. I hope whatever you're listening to right now, if it's music, it's something that's appealing to you. You're in the comfort of your own space. So if what you're listening to you don't like, go ahead and switch it if you need to. And then release from there and just let that arm dangle, just nice and easy. Good. And then as you roll it up, shoulder circles. So this one, we're going to bring those shoulders forward and in, bring them up around to the back. So we're doing a lot of work to open up the upper body. If we're seated a lot, that tends to happen where we'll kind of round our shoulders, especially if you're working at a desk computer or laptop, where you have your hands forward, those shoulders roll forward a lot. So we want to create a counter stretch by opening things up. Good. And one more there. Nice. Now bring those arms in, elbow to elbow, hand to hand. Inhaling, lift the elbows as high as you can. Exhaling, bring them out to the side and around. So here, I have a fairly good range of motion, but other people might not. Other people have better ranges of motions than I do in certain postures. So I'm going to follow what feels good to me. When I press the elbows up, keeping the elbows touching, that's about the range of how far I can stretch it. Pretty higher than that, I'm going to have to pull the elbows apart. I want to keep them touching. And then when I bring those arms out to the side, I'm really contracting into the upper back muscles, then relaxing that contraction to drop back in. So inhale, lift up. Exhale, bring it out to the side and around. We're going to do that 2 more times. And then I would say that that upper back body feels a lot more relaxed and opened up. And you may find that when we take the next 3 deep breaths, you can breathe even deeper because you did open things up. So you're doing great. Just keep hanging with me here. And then release it and relax the hands back to your lap. Take 3 really deep breaths and imagine that first portion of your body into the rib cage, down to the deep belly, the lower part of your lungs, and then take 2 more breaths from there. Good. Now we're going to move into a little bit of lion's breath. This is my, if you're like this, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I start to get the yawns. It doesn't matter what I've been doing, I get a little hungry. And so I like to do lion's breath because it just energizes me. It pulls me out of those doldrums. So you're going to take a deep inhale through your nose. And then when you exhale, you're going to just push that tongue out and take a big exhale. Now with hands, it depends on the day that you're having. So you could be in kitten pause where your little fingers are curled in, or you can bring it claws out like a lion. It just depends on where you feel like going. So take a deep inhale. I'm going to go kitten pause today. Deep inhale. Then 2 more. And then relax from there. Feel a little more energized? I do. That really helped a lot. So now what we're going to do is move into a warrior 2. So I'm going to push my block over to the side. And here I feel comfortable scooting to the edge of my chair. And if you don't feel comfortable scooting to the edge of your chair, it's okay. You don't have to. And then I'm going to step 1 foot out to the side. Notice that I still have that other leg facing forward. I'm not walking it out to the side or knocking my knee out. I'm keeping the knee trailing over my toes. And this foot out here, knee over the toes as well. And then from here, first I'm going to draw my hands at the heart center. And I'm looking straight at you. So I hope you're looking straight at me. And then when I draw the arms out from the shoulders, palms down, now I'm going to decide where I want to turn my head. You might feel more comfortable continuing to face me. If it's comfortable for your neck, slowly turn the head to face that one hand that's out over the foot that you just walked out. And trail your gaze out there. You might want to close your eyes and just visualize something like maybe you're doing your warrior two on a mountaintop, or maybe out on the beach, or by a river, or in your favorite friend's yard, or right in your own space that you're occupying. Just imagine that you're holding that space and try to keep those arms up at shoulder height. If you start to feel a lot of tension at the neck, just draw the hands back to the heart center, because you have that choice. But if you can keep holding here and you're feeling just strengthening through those arms, you're doing great. Just make sure that you're being kind and you're starting to open that doorway open farther to joy. Take one more deep inhale here and exhale the air out. And with the next breath, I just want you to relax this back hand down and hold on to the back of your chair. And then stretch the other arm up. And now you're introducing that nice deep stretch into that rib cage. One thing we don't want to really trail into is trying to create tension for the lower back. Nobody likes that. So if you keep lengthening through this side body here, and you might find that you got to pull in through your belly muscles a little bit to support the low back. So give yourself that moment, and if that starts to feel not so good to you, just draw the hand a little farther down. You're still in your reverse warrior, your humble warrior. So keep celebrating that pose for 2 more breaths here. Then from here, we're going to go ahead and release that forearm down to the thigh. I'm still trying to open my chest up so it's facing you. And then stretch the other arm up. For here, a lot of us can't get that arm up and overhead, and that's okay. Just take it up to where you feel best. And if you can tighten up through the abdominals to keep that chest lifted a little bit, that's great. But if you start to feel a lot of fatigue in your low back, just go ahead and relax into that forearm that's resting on your thigh. And from here, make little circles with that upper arm. This is a super, what we call dynamic stretch, where we're using little motion, constant motion, to start to open up through the shoulder muscles here. And you might also start to feel like that arm is starting to pick up a little bit of fatigue too. And you're working your muscles here. You're working your biceps here. So we need to work our muscles. And then change the direction to work in the other way. And just notice now you're stretching a little bit differently, and just move through that circle just a couple of more times. And then release from there, and then draw that foot in. And we're going to do that whole series to the opposite side. I got a lot of stuff down here, so I have to navigate through the territory. Hopefully you don't have as much stuff as I've got gathered up. So as I step my foot out, this knee now is trailing over those toes. This front knee is trailing over those. And then I'm going to draw the hands at heart, and then slowly sweep the arms out, and then decide which direction do I want to position my face or my gaze. Do I want to look right at you, which I love, or do I want to look off my hands? Just whatever feels good to you. And just keep holding right there, and take a couple more deep breaths. Notice what you need to do so that you feel supported. We do so much to kind of stress our bodies in so many ways. And when we come to the mat in our yoga practice, we are giving a gift back that our bodies so appreciate. Then as you begin to move into that reverse warrior, just hold on to your chair seat and reach that arm up. If you need to drop the elbow down a little bit, that's fine. You want to get that stretch along that rib cage right there. And let's take 3 breaths here, okay? Breathe with me now. And one more. And then slowly release that forearm to the thigh and reach the other arm up just to the point of gentle resistance, not force. And then begin circling that arm around in whichever direction you want. Just moving at the rate of intensity. I think it's so nice that we can get together here. Sometimes it's hard to get to the studio, and depending on circumstances, you might not be able to go to the studio and then circle it in the other direction. But this option gives you that ability to be able to keep your practice up. And I don't know about you, but I like to practice with others. It reminds me of that union that we have when we celebrate yoga together. Good. And then just release from there. Draw the hands to heart and bring it back in. Good. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale into your forward fold. Inhale to flat back. And exhaling, forward fold. Inhale, reach up. And exhaling, hands to heart center. Drawing the hands back towards your lap. Inhale, lift the chest up. And exhale, round it back out. And move through that flow about 3 more times. But you might be in a mood to do a lot more than that. And that's absolutely okay. Good. And we're going to come up to a couple of balance poses. And think about whether you feel stable coming up into that balance pose. If you don't, feel free to stay seated until we complete this little series that we're going to work into. When you come up from the chair, make sure that you're in close proximity of it. Press in, rise up, and you'll notice that I immediately grab onto the back of my chair. That's just in case I get a little lightheaded or I lose my footing. I've got my chair to hold on to. So I'm going to walk my way around. And I'm just going to rest my hands on the top back of the chair. Now, one thing that we disregard is the strength of your ankle muscles. And especially when we get older, and it doesn't matter how old it is, the ankle muscles tend to atrophy a little bit more. We're not using them in the same way that we did when we were younger, when we had a lot more movement that we were doing. So strengthening ankle muscles is great support to make sure that you are working in the direction of avoiding falls and keeping the upper muscles of your legs stronger. And it also helps you encourage a little bit of light abdominal work. So as you press into the balls of your feet, and my feet are hip width apart, I'm going to push into the balls of my feet and slowly lift the heels and then slowly lower. And there's something that I want you to think about when you start to lift the heels. Do you kick the heels out? Do you collapse them in? In other words, do you feel more pressure on the outer edges of the bases of your toes or the inner, like the base of your big toe? I want you to feel it all the way across the whole bridge at the base of your toes. And typically when we do that, our heels are a little bit more in alignment with our ankles, and it helps really work the muscles completely. So we're still slowly lowering and lifting. So I'm going to do that one more time, a slow lift and a slow lower. And here comes the balance. So when you lift the heels up just as high as you can, start to pull in through your abdominals a little bit there. And then either keep holding on to the chair. Today's one of those balance days where you need to hold on to the chair. Hang on. Otherwise, try to lift maybe 1 or 2 arms up. I'm holding on with one hand today just to be safe. And just keep holding. You could even rest the hand away from the chair a little bit and then take one more breath here. Try to stay strong and then slowly lower it back down. You did a great job. That was wonderful. So kick the legs out a little bit and we're gonna work into a tree pose. I love tree pose. It's springtime here and the trees are blooming. So maybe in your mind, think of your favorite tree and you're gonna try to design that tree with your posture and balance. As you press into one foot, lift the other foot and you have several choices. You can either rest the ankle toward the heel towards your ankle, or if you're comfortable, take that foot up to the inside of the calf. If you're ready to go for the extent of the pose, drop that foot to the inside of your thigh. I keep wearing these slippery yoga pants, so my foot keeps sliding off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to park the balls of my foot down to the mat and rest that heel on my ankle. Then try to bring that outer hip in, and again, kind of engage through your abdominals, and then either keep holding that chair or begin to create that tree. Okay, we've got this really fledgling, floundering Japanese maple in the backyard. I keep wondering if it's gonna survive. Well, sure enough, with the first edges of spring, we're starting to see some of the first red leaves. So I'm that Japanese maple. So I'm gonna draw my arms a little closer in, and I'm just gonna extend my fingertips out for those little red leaves. You might be a great oak, you might be a eucalyptus tree. What kind of tree are you? Just imagine that in your mind right now. Take one more deep breath and then slowly release. Good. Come back to your feet, heel raises for 3, slowly lift and slowly lower. Just give yourself a pat on the back there. And by taking the hand away from that chair, you might have just tested your balance a little bit, but give yourself a pat on the other side too. And then slowly lower. I think we've got one more. And then slowly lift and then slowly lower. So let's go ahead and work to the other side. You're going to go ahead and either park it in one of those 3 ways, whatever works good for you, and then create your tree. You might find that you need to just be one branch out to the side because maybe one got blown off in a storm, or maybe both arms are up, or maybe drawing hands at heart center. You can do so many things with this posture. It's a wonderful pose for Kasana. So just take one more deep inhale and exhale it out and release the hands to the chair. Sorry, kids. One more heel raise. Slowly lift. Hold on nice and tight. Engage through your belly. And then slowly lower. And let's walk our way back around to the chair. So as we come back to sit down, go ahead and rest yourself into the chair, and you might need to swish those knees from side to side. And if you need to use your block to rest your feet on, you're more than welcome to. We're going to work into a couple of hip stretches before we head into, gosh, the time is flying by, to the rest of our practice. So I'm placing my block right here. For some folks, resting the ankle across the opposite thigh is really uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for the knee, or maybe we don't have that range of motion to get it up. And what you don't want to do is try to fling the leg up there and try to pop it on. So your option is just to rest the outer edge of your foot to the block, just like that. And then hold on to your chair and lean forward. What we're trying to get is on that leg that's dropped over, we're trying to get a little stretch on the outer hip there. Now, I'm comfortable going into the leg cross, but I'm going to tell you a secret on the next round. So right here, once you get into that stretch, explore kind of lengthening through your spine, maybe moving into a little bit flatter back is what we call it. And when you do, what that does is it actually helps activate those muscles a little bit more. So the stretch may get a little deeper. So let's just hold here. And we're going to try to actually hold this stretch for anywhere between about 30 to 60 seconds, because it takes your body a while to figure out that it's stretching. Initially, when you move into a stretch, your brain synapse actually resist it and want to pull out of it. And if we try to bounce into it too much, that sends negative messages too. But by holding on that gentle resistance point and just letting it give a little bit of time, then pretty soon your body goes, all right, I get it. You want to stretch? We'll go where we can today. And so we're just going to take about 2 more deep breaths there. Good. And then release from there. Now remember, I said I was going to share a little secret with you. Well, over here, if I try to do that, notice how high my knee is. This feels wildly uncomfortable for me. So I could try to push myself into the pose, but I'm just not in that kind of mindset, because remember, we're on the path of joy today. So I'm going to go ahead and prop my foot on my Harry Potter book and just hold here and lean forward. Because there is that kind of tension in my hip, I'm feeling a great stretch right here without beating myself up. So just let yourself go into that lengthened spine and take about 4 deep breaths here. Everybody's breath is different at different lengths, and some will breathe longer and some will breathe shorter. So just keep holding that pose for a little bit with me. And if you find that you only make it through 3 breaths, that's fine. For others, if you feel like you need to take about 4 or 5 more breaths, it's okay. You know, one of the things that we like to do when we come to the yoga mat is acknowledge the efforts, the achievements, the things that we can do, instead of looking at the things that we can't do. And that opens up this wonderful world of compassion and empathy for the world around us. So just really embrace what you're doing, because you're doing great and you're almost done. Good. And then release from there. And then drop your feet to the mat and switch those knees from side to side. Now, this is the harder part of the class. So remember, listen to what you need to listen to. I'm keeping my block to the side. And what we're going to do is we're going to work our core muscles right here, the abdominals. So to start with, I'm going to go all the way to the back of the chair, because I want to make sure that when I move into this pose initially, I'm not buying into any tension, and then I'll graduate further. So join me with that. Just slide your weight all the way to the back part of the chair. With the next inhale, try to lift one leg, exhale, extend, inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Inhaling, lift, exhale, extend as we alternate to the other leg, and lower. I know that if you're a regular person in the chair classes, you know this one very well, because I'm all about your abdominals. I want to see every single one of you have strong abdominals, because that means that your back is that much stronger to endure through anything. So as I do this, I'm kind of saying to myself, my back isn't bothering me at all. I think I could slide to the edge of the chair a little bit farther. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to slide out and then continue it. And when I move into that first flow, then I'm checking in with my low back. So do that for yourself as well. And notice if you start to feel tension in the low back, if you start to feel like it's not as cool as you would like it, or you need it, then go ahead and slide to the back part of your chair again, so you get the support that you need. And keep moving through that flow, because we've got one more layer to go into. So if you're feeling challenged here, and I do want you to feel a little bit of challenge here, just like with those balance poses, then you should be feeling like your abdominals are working. You're also helping work the pelvic floor, which is so important for all of us. And if you feel like, you know what, I think I could do a little bit more, then I'm going to give you one more layer, and that's with the block. When you rest the feet on the block and lift that knee, you're going even higher and extending out, drawing it into lift and lower. So this is actually the hardest level of what we could do for this. But again, check in and make sure that you're not pushing yourself too far, because you want to be able to join me with the next session that we're going to do. So you don't want to hurt yourself here. And we will be doing another one, so you want to be ready. Good. And we're just going to do whichever layer of intensity is good for you. Do that one more time on each side, and then release from there. Okay, wow. Let's go ahead and draw back into the chair. That feels good, yeah? And then inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, round the back out. Shoulders in, and just flow through that a few more times. I hope that your body's feeling really good. I hope that you're having some fun, because that's important to me too. Sometimes we're so serious when we go to our yoga practice, or we go to work out or do something for ourselves. It's like we get, serious. And we can have so much fun together. That's to me, part of a very important part of this practice. And then once you come to that long, lengthened spine, draw that shoulder into the opposite knee, lift it up and out, and alternate. So hopefully you're finding your sense of purpose. Sometimes by doing, we discover that sense of purpose. And maybe just by taking care of yourself today and engaging in this wonderful practice together, because we're in this together, that you have found a great purpose for yourself on what that means. Good. And then release from there. Strap time. So grab your little strap. We're going to do a couple of things. We're going to do a strengthener for the shoulders. And I need for you to put on your imagination caps. Do you remember when I was a little kid in kindergarten? I think it was like in a TV show called Romper Room or something like that. I'm really showing my age now, right? They used to say, put on your thinking caps, or maybe a school teacher probably told me, put on your thinking caps. But you didn't just imagine it. You would put on a little hat, and I always had a chin strap on my thinking cap because I didn't want it to fall off. So I want you to put on your imagination caps. And then you're going to draw that strap out in front of you, and I want it shoulder width apart. So just follow that line right like there. And I want you to imagine that I'm sitting on the middle of your strap, all of me, and you've got to lift me up. So slowly lift me up and just imagine that I am weighing so much and pushing down on that strap, and you've got to fight to lift it and then hold it right there. Now I just jumped off the strap and I'm underneath it and I'm pressing my hands into it and trying to push against you. You're going to have to push against me. So try to lower that strap. And you can feel that tension. Now, if you start to feel too uncomfortable in the shoulders, then dial back and just rest the hands into your lap. We're going to do this 3 more times. Otherwise, drop the hands to your lap and just relax. Next inhale, I just sat on top of the strap and I brought a friend with me, so it's even heavier than it was before. And then we both jumped off and we're pushing against it. So try to push against both of us. And then one more time, slowly lift. I just let my friend go home to get a snack. It's just me again, lifting, and then push against it and slowly lower. Good. And then release and shoulder circles up and around. Did you feel that? You really strengthened up your shoulder muscles there. So if it's sore, a good sore, that's a good thing. But if you feel any kind of pain, don't do that. You know, just dial away from it. And don't worry about how big of a range of motion you have, how far you can go. Don't judge yourself in your practice. Just really celebrate what you can do. So now we're going to unfurl that strap, or if you're using, a tie or a belt or even a towel, just draw the leg up and slowly bring it out to the side. Now, from here, use your chair to hold on to if you need some support and stability. If you feel like you can go a little deeper, just kind of walk your hips towards the end of the chair and bring the leg out to the side. You want to feel the stretch in the adductor muscles. That's right to the inside of your thigh. And keep sitting up tall. Today, I'm really holding on to my chair. It just gives me a little edge of comfort that I need today. And just take 1 or 2 breaths right there. And then slowly draw the leg in and grab onto the strap with the opposite hand. And you have a few choices. The first thing that you really need to do is stretch up through your spine, lengthen through your back, and then you can either just hold on to the chair and rotate a little, or if you like to swing that arm out, you're comfortable to do so as well. Feel free. I'm just going to hold on to my chair and go into a little bit of a twist, and I'm going to breathe really deep into my midsection. When we do these twists and breathe deep, it actually helps stimulate the circulation to your digestive tract. So it's pretty close to lunchtime as I'm looking to the clock. So I'm going to stimulate my digestive tract by taking one more deep inhale and exhale it out and switch to the other side. I'll pop my foot right in there. Draw the leg out to the side, nice and slow. We're headed right to relaxation. So this will be wonderful because, I don't know, I've had a really good time in our practice today. When I get to this stage, I look forward to the relaxation, but then I know it's almost over, but then I know there will be another one. So there's the silver lining. And then draw that leg in, hand it off to the other hand, and move into that twist, either holding onto your chair or sweeping that arm all the way out to the side, whatever feels best to you. And then take one more deep breath. And then release from there. You did great. And the best part's coming. So as you drop your straps to the side, you have a couple of choices. If you are comfortable getting down on the mat in your relaxation shavasana, you're more than welcome to do so. Feel free to move the chair to the side a little bit and come to a reclining posture on your mat. You may want to use a bolster behind your knees. But if you're not comfortable getting down on the mat, just relax yourself into your chair. Relax through your shoulders. Take a deep inhale and exhale the air out. And then just relax through your whole body and close your eyes. Let yourself just disconnect in these few moments. I think we found great meaning today with working through our practice. And this kind of ties that package all together. So as you close your eyes, let your breath relax into a gentle rhythm that's good for you. And keep letting go. And let me be the keeper of your time. And when it's time to come back, I'll come for you. Take a deep breath and just let it sail out of your body. And kind of notice how you feel. Take a moment to think about what that intention was at the beginning of your practice. And where your heart, your mind, your spirit are now. Just take a moment to check in. Whatever you built in your practice today and whatever you ended with, try to take the spirit with you throughout the day. You took care of yourself. You built your strength. You found your breath, and maybe you found a little path to joy. So spread that out throughout the world, because it will come back to you. Let's draw the hands to heart center. Lokaha, samistaha sukino bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy, free, and at peace. Namaste. Thanks for joining us today, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the mat.